Naomi Campbell is, again, a mum. She's 53 this time. It's a baby boy. She's introduced a picture of him to the world. You can't see his face. You can see his little fingers. He looks very sweet. She's very happy. She's 53. How do we feel about that? Do we think that biology stops mums becoming mums after the age of about 40 to 45 because there's a good reason for it? You're knackered, you're tired, you're too old. It's time to think about being a grandma. Hang up those matriarchal socks because you've been a mum, and if you haven't, it's too late. Or do we think you can be a loving mum at absolutely any age? How do we feel about it? Joining me to discuss this, we have Clare Muldoon, the broadcaster, mum of 4, and we have Emma Woolf, the author and broadcaster too. Let's start with Clare. She's in the studio. So congratulations, Naomi Campbell. How lovely.
Well, is it really? I mean, I think this is about purchasing, making children commodities at her age and at her stage of life. I doubt for 1 second that she actually went through the pregnancy, went through the birth. So therefore we have to think, well, does she really think that children are a commodity? And that they're not. I believe that they're not. And okay, she can, provide financially what the child would need. In fact, what her 2 children need financially. Is she there emotionally though? Is she actually attuned to what children want? Not only is she presenting as an older mum at 53, but she's had a wide and varied career as a very successful model. She's not really lived in the real world, has she? And at 53, I'm 51, my eldest is 25, my youngest is 19. Whereas when they were younger, it was physically very demanding. Now it's emotionally demanding.
That's very true, and it never stops.
It never stops.
Mine are 34 and 37, and it never stops.
It never stops.
Never. I mean, I adore them. It never stops.
Exactly. And you've got grandchildren now too.
Yes, I do.
That would be physically demanding on you. You know what it's like. Is this really equipped? And I've said it about the men as well. We've got Al Pacino and Robert De Niro fathering children when they're so old. I think it's selfish. I think it's treating people like children like commodities. And I don't think it's us living in the real world. It's a bit Handmaid's Tale.
Let's bring in Emma Woolf. Emma, good to have you on the programme. Nice to have you back. Do you think Claire's being a bit harsh? I mean, if Naomi Campbell is going to be a loving mother, if she's going to be an active mother, certainly she leads a rip-roaring life. You see her at all sorts of late-night events. Everything. She doesn't look like somebody who's tired and exhausted and wants to lie down on the sofa or grow marrows in elasticated trousers quite yet, does she? So what do you think? Do you think this is an overreaction, maybe?
I'm afraid I think Claire's being incredibly unfair and extremely uncharitable. Maybe Claire doesn't know. Maybe Claire doesn't know the struggle of maybe trying to conceive, of wanting. You probably had your 4 babies just like that. But actually, for women who are a little bit older, who are desperate for a child, it's not treating babies.
Emma,
like
it's not your fundamental right as a woman to have a child.
Hold on, let me speak. I'll let you speak. I think it's incredibly unfair what you've said about Naomi Campbell. Yes, she's rich. Yes, she's privileged. Yes, she's beautiful. But the fact that she's had to resort to having a baby by surrogate probably means that she's tried naturally for years and years and years. Of course, she's older. Of course,
she's not actually said if she had the children by surrogates where she rented a womb for someone else to have the child for them. And Emma, I think it's a bit disingenuous of you to even assume how I had my children. Every individual's right is not the case that every woman is not every woman's right is to have a child.
Vanessa, is it okay if I say my bit as well?
It is. Let Emma speak. Yes, so we can hear what she has to say. Of course, it's okay.
Okay, I went through years of fertility treatment to have my baby boy, myself, via IVF at the age of 40. You can probably hear him singing in the background. It's completely exhausting, however you have children, whether you have them yourself, naturally, on your own, like I did, via, I don't know anything about surrogacy. We are assuming that Naomi Campbell had her babies via surrogate, although that has not been confirmed.
No,
I just think, I'm not assuming anything about you personally, Claire. I'm just saying, I think we should understand that yearning that many women and men probably too have to be a mother. You know that feeling, Vanessa. You know that feeling of holding your grandbabies as well.
I do, of course I do, yeah.
Incredibly powerful feeling. And however we get there in the end, let's cut women some slack, because it's hard work having a baby. It's extremely hard work bringing up a child. And, I don't think we need to throw slings and arrows and criticise anyone for however they get there in the end.
I wasn't criticising.
Can I just say something? I suppose, Emma, though, and obviously we're all projecting and we don't really know, and Naomi Campbell's been very adept, hasn't she, at not revealing anything, so we don't really know if the baby was born by surrogate or if maybe the baby was adopted or quite what happened. We've got no idea. But what we do know is she's 53, and we do know, or at least we think we know, I suppose, that for whatever reason she's waited till now, or it transpired it didn't happen till now. And I suppose what Claire's saying is you may want a baby very, very badly indeed, but by the time you get to be 53, is it late to give a baby, to give a child what a child needs?
The other issue that I have...
So much longer that I think that, we have extended that. A 60-year-old now is not like a 60-year-old in our grandmother's day at all, let's be honest. It is more exhausting, probably. I don't know. Having a baby at 40 has been exhausting, but it could have been this exhausting for me at the age of 20. I think probably the fact that Naomi Campbell is having babies somehow in her early 50s, to me, suggests that she has tried herself throughout her 30s and 40s, like Jennifer Aniston, like many women I know who are later mums, because they did try, they wanted desperately to have their own baby. I'm only talking about that feeling that we all know as women who are mothers of wanting your baby.
And some women, of course, who aren't mothers and who would very much like to be.
Yes, but because you feel that way, it's not your right to have a child.
But I suppose...
And it's the commoditisation of it. If Emma's right, and there's loads of women that feel that they have to be a mother, which I don't necessarily agree with. But if she is...
But they long to be a mother.
If what Emma's saying is correct, then Emma's in a very privileged position in the fact that she had the finances available to do it. Lots of women don't, and lots of women out there who would see people like Emma, who would listen to people like Emma and Naomi Campbell, who have gone through the rigmarole of IVF, who have gone through the cost of it. It's huge, and your normal person on the street does not have access to those funds, so they will be looking at all of this thinking, gosh, I really have these feelings that Emma speaks about. Why can't I have a child? Why can't I go down the route of IVF? It's a postcode lottery. Why can't I be in the right postcode? It's down to finance.
Yeah, but you wouldn't expect Naomi Campbell not to have a baby that she desperately wants, because there are some people who couldn't afford to have the same level of IVF or surrogacy. No, but what I'm saying, any more than you'd expect her not to drive a car that she can afford to drive, what I'm saying because somebody else is waiting for the bus. I just wouldn't expect that to happen.
But Vanessa, she's got the money. She's got the wherewithal to do it.
Yeah, I know. But you wouldn't expect her not to use it, would you?
Well,
why shouldn't she use it?
Why should she?
Doesn't come from a privileged background, does she?
No, she doesn't.
Herself.
She doesn't. She's earned the money herself.
Emma, we better hear you say that again, because we can't hear you.
We are talking about whether it's okay, whether it's acceptable, whether you can be a good mother in your 40s or 50s. I say absolutely. You can love a baby with a child. You can bring up a child well. My father, who died at the age of 92, had me at the age of, in his 50s or 60s. I mean, he had his last child at the age of 62. He was an amazing father. He was an absolutely amazing father. Same goes for mothers. Yes, you're older. Yes, you're probably more tired. But so what? You're grown up. You've got a career. You're not an 18-year-old. Look, let's not criticize women for bringing up their babies and their children as best as they can. It's a really, really tough job, and everybody knows that.
Do you think you're being uncharitable?
No, not at all.
I mean, do you think this baby's going to be desperately loved? Why wouldn't she adore the baby? Why wouldn't she try and give the baby the best life? Well, she will. So therefore, if she will love the baby very much, then she's not commodifying the baby. She's not buying a baby like you buy a handbag.
She did buy a baby.
Well, we don't know that for a fact. Well, but even if she did, it doesn't mean she won't love the baby any more than if you buy IVF and have a baby you don't love the baby.
I think the case with Naomi Campbell is that she has got enough money to do what she wanted to do. She found someone able to do it. She might have had her eggs frozen. This is all sheer conjecture. No one knows. I certainly don't know.
I don't think it's fair to speculate about Naomi Campbell's personal fertility journey. It's irrelevant about the money. We are talking about whether it's okay.
She wouldn't have done it had she not got the money to be able to do it.
But as she does have the money, so what?
But she did it. But she's had a child at 53 that she's going to take care of. Do you think she's going to get up in the night to do the feeds? She's probably got a few nannies, Vanessa. Let's be realistic about this.
Let Emma talk, because we can't sit, because she's not here. She's being kind of overruled. So let's have her hear what she wants to say.
It's not that I'm not there, Vanessa. It's just that I've been through it, and I think Claire hasn't. I didn't have the money for IVF. I'm still paying off the tens of thousands of pounds for my baby boy, and he's worth every penny. We don't know whether people have the money or not. You do what you need to do in life.
Have you ever at any point, Emma, thought, I'm too old for this, I waited too long, I wish it, that this I can't give him the energy that he needs, I can't give him the attention he needs, or whatever it is? Have you ever felt that way?
Well, come on, you think that every minute of every second.
Right, I suppose you do.
But no, I've never regretted it or thought. I've never thought, oh, I would be better at this if I was in my 20s. Because in my 20s, I was at university, I was studying, I was living. I think at whatever age you do it, you do your best. It's, you do your best. No one is a perfect mother. Are we?
No. God, no. Ask my children, they'll tell you I'm not.
Exactly.
They just a couple of phone calls you've got to make to ask if I'm a perfect mother. They'll tell you absolutely no way. No.
But Emma, would you do it again?
Yes, absolutely. No, I won't have another one because I can't on my own. But my toddler will not put on his Crocs. So I just threw the Croc on the floor and I said to him, for goodness sake, stop acting like a child. I mean, that is terrible. He is a child. He's 2 years old. That's a terrible thing to say. I think my point was, grow up, you're not a baby, put your shoes on. But I mean, I'm a terrible mother, but I do my best and I love him like mad and he knows that.
Oh, well, it's lovely having you on, and you too. Thank you very much indeed. We're all just doing our best here.